Hey guys, so I have decided that I am going to do a video series for my YouTube channel, but also for my Twisted Tree family, followers, friends, those of you who support me on a regular basis, not only on my journey to my own healing, but on my journey to helping those find their own path to healing. I'm really passionate about what I do. And the only reason I'm so passionate is because the path I've gone through to get to where I am today. So I thought that I would share a little bit about that. And there's a lot of time in our lives that we shouldn't really look back and get nostalgic about how we got to where we are, because it can bring up some old negative vibrations. But when we've gotten to a point in our healing that we can look back on things and be in complete gratitude for them, not allow ourselves to sit in them for too long, and we can move through those emotions in a healthy way, then I guess we can highlight them. I'm not really sure what the best answer is there, but I do know that along my path, I've been super inspired, knowing how other people got to where they are, and knowing that, knowing the steps that they took and what they've gone through to get to where they are. And as my group grows, I find it more important to kind of highlight some of the places I've been. I don't know if it solidifies me as a healer, or just offers additional inspiration. But really, I just want to be able to help people in larger scales. I want to be able to spread a message, and I want to be able to help the consciousness of all that is. And the only way to greater consciousness is through that of healing. But of course, I cannot go through my entire life story, 36 years of life from sickness to health, in one video. So I'm going to break it down into parts, and I'm not sure how every part is going to go, because I'm just telling my story. I didn't really take notes. I really didn't break it down, and maybe I will as it goes on, who knows. But in what parts I want to tell when, or what points I want to get across, I really want to just be candid with it, and just follow the universe in my words and my voice, because ultimately I do believe that it's my voice that is going to create the most amount of change. And my voice is something that I felt like was suppressed for a very long time. My throat chakra is something that I've done a lot of work on, and I feel like sometimes the people with the most powerful voices are the ones that have their voices suppressed the most. And I really want to use my voice for change. I want to use my voice for good, and I want to use my voice for healing and coming together and love and hope and joy, healing. So anyway, I guess this video, since it is the first of the series, I'm going to start with my early life. And I want to really emphasize that every single person along my path, every single struggle, every single moment that seems like holy fuck, I am so eternally grateful for. And for those people, I'm grateful for. And I don't hold any animosity to anybody along my path. Now, there is one point in time that I had a lot of anger towards everyone in my path, but I don't feel that way now. I have so much love and gratitude, and I have so much understanding of my own pain that I can understand that of others, and know that anything that affected me was not because of me. It was because the pain somebody else was going through that they hadn't healed yet, and maybe they still haven't healed. But either way, no matter what comes out of my mouth, every single person along my path, I am so eternally grateful for. Every single moment I am grateful for. It's all been necessary to get me to where I am, and where I am is such a beautiful place. And being able to share it with you guys and to be able to help you guys is ultimately worth every single thing that I've ever gone through. But I wouldn't know the joy that I know now, or the love that I know now. I wouldn't know the happiness. I wouldn't know any of it without what came before. So it's all beautiful, and I'm grateful for it all. But with that, I'm going to start to tell my story. So I was born in 1983. For those of you who, I guess it doesn't really matter, time, space, reality. But anyway, so I was born, I'm 36. And when I was born, I'm actually the third daughter of very young parents. My mom, I believe, was 21 when she had me, and I was her third child. My dad is a couple years older, but they were together in high school, and they had their own toxic relationships and relationship and struggles before I was even born, and continued on. So I wasn't a wanted child. Not that I wasn't wanted once I was here, but it wasn't like they were like, let's get pregnant with a third kid. It wasn't like that at all. Which gives a start to a rocky root chakra, because that the root chakra develops from the ages from the womb to 12 months. And so if you are created in a event that it's not a plan, there's some stress involved, and there's a lack of stability involved and stuff like that. So just that alone created the development of a root chakra that wasn't super healthy. By the time I was 2 years old, my parents got divorced, or were getting divorced. And honestly, I don't really remember much of that. I do remember one scenario, and I was at my grandparents' house, and I don't know what happened. And honestly, it doesn't really matter, but it is a memory that sticks with me. And when you're that young to have a memory that sticks with you, well, there's something to that. And maybe I'll uncover it, through ayahuasca in the future. Maybe I won't. And either way, I love everybody involved, but I do have a memory of being at my grandparents' house, my maternal grandparents' house, and I remember my dad trying to come see us. And I don't know why he was coming to see us, if he was supposed to be coming to see us, if it was a fight, I don't know what it was, but I do remember the police being involved. And so at a very young age, I remember that there was some animosity between my parents and some ugliness that I really couldn't I was too young to be able to wrap my head around. So that is my earliest memory of any type of interaction between my mom and my dad. And then from there, I don't really know. Again, like I said, I don't really know, but I do know that I started, spending every other weekend with my dad, and the rest of the time with my mom. And I remember that growing up, it was a big deal if they had conversations. I do know that it was, I believe my oldest sister was kind of like the communicator between the two. And I don't know when that started. That might have started as we got older. That might have started when she was, she's 4 years older than me. She might have been 6 years old when she started communicating for them. I have no idea because, like I said, I was so young, and I just don't remember how that all transpired. But I do remember growing up and being like, my parents don't even communicate, and maybe they did, maybe one of them will see this and be like, you're crazy, we talked all the time, but I don't think that was the case. I don't remember them, having friendly conversations. Now, as I got older and they had grandchildren and stuff, they were more able to be in the same place, but at that time, no. And so when I was about 5, my mom met her second husband, and my dad, his second partner, or of my lifetime. And honestly, actually, my dad had another child already prior to that. So my dad actually has children with 4 different women. And so somewhere between the ages of 2 and 5, is my brother that close to my age? I don't know, brother, tell me about it. But anyway, he had a child with a woman who wasn't really around very much, and that child, my brother, also wasn't around a whole lot growing up, and then he got in a relationship with one of my sister's mom, and they were together for 8-9 years, lived together, and she was my stepmom. So at about 5, I had step parents that came in, and neither one of them helped to create a very healthy environment. My stepfather and my mother had a pretty toxic relationship that was kind of on and off through my childhood, and then of course my dad and my first stepmom had a very, very toxic relationship, both of which were alcoholics. So most of the time I spent over there, and although it wasn't a lot of time I spent there, it was very much alcoholism, and what comes with that, not paying attention, me and the neighborhood kids always running around, and, them being drunk with their friends, and not a lot of supervision, and at nighttime a lot of yelling, and stuff like that. And there was some violence in that situation, coming from both ends. It just really wasn't, it was just a toxic relationship. And as many of us know, that's how toxic relationships go. And I was just, that was what I saw in that house. And I remember being a little kid, and I would go to my dad's house, and I would spend, a lot of my time just looking out the door, crying and wanting my mom. And my sisters, they seemed okay to go to my dad's house. Now, again, I don't really know, because I'm only coming from my perception, but I know that I didn't really like going there. I really wanted to be with I was a mama's girl, and I really wanted to be with her all the time. And like I've stated in previous videos in regards to the ayahuasca, I was really attached to my mom's pain, and therefore I was really attached to my mom in general. And we all kind of attach to one parent over another, and I think that comes with attaching to their joys and their sorrows as well. So on the opposite end of attaching to her pain, I also attached to her love, which was, equally as beautiful, equally as important. But so yeah, that is kind of like, my early life is I came from a broken home. And it was broken when I was very, very young. So I don't remember the brokenness, but I remember, the continuation of that brokenness. So, at the age of 12 and 13, they happened, 1 year apart. My parents actually separated from those partners as well, and moved into, again, a new relationship. So my mom is still married this time to her husband, who she married 20 years ago. So when I was 16, and she started dating him not too long after her second divorce. And then my dad got married just a matter of months after the separation from my first stepmom. And they were only married for a couple years, and then they divorced, and they did have a child together. So again, like, there was not just one divorce in my family, but there were multiple divorces and separations and new homes and things like that really created a lack of stability. And it really affected, a lot of my energy centers. There was a lot of stored emotions. As kids, we don't really understand what's going on. We're not clued in what's going on. It's not that we were sent to therapists to work through these separations. Like, we literally just went with it. So new house, new school, new stepmom, new siblings. Like, they were kind of always coming in and out. And even from the sibling part of it is my mom's second husband didn't have children, so there wasn't anything like that there. Her third husband has a daughter, and I love her very much. She's awesome. And, so that was a relationship that stayed. But in my dad's home, every woman he was with had children that were brought into the family. And then when we were expected to treat them exactly like our siblings, but then when the separations happened or the divorces happened, we were ripped away from those children that became kind of like our security blankets in spaces that were considerably unhealthy for children to be in, because the adults in the situation were so physically, emotionally, and spiritually ill that, we really bonded to one another, and then they were ripped apart too. So there, I have a lot of siblings, but I have additional, excuse me, my throat chakra is like, oh, you talking a lot, girl. But my siblings, I had additional step siblings that were like, now they're like ex-step siblings, and what do you consider them, even though you loved them so much when you were growing up, and they played such a crucial role, then they were ripped apart from you, and so was that adult that you came to rely on. And it was a lot of instabilities just in that specific part of my life. So I'm going to stop there because it's already getting long, and I'm going to check out for now. 15 minutes is where YouTube cuts it off, and then it becomes hard to upload. So I love you all, and I'm going to continue to tell my story from sick to well. You guys have a great night. Namaste.